Welcome to Headbutting with the G.O.A.T, a special edition of G.O.A.T Sports Podcast, where we talk to real-life sports legends and coaches who knows what it takes to achieve greatness. I'm your host, Sakith, and today's guest is incredibly special. The world knows him as a superstar from the recent T20 Cricket World Cup, but to me, he has always been a guiding force since day one of my cricketing journey. Shadley Van Schalkwyk, better known as Shadow, led USA's wicket tally in the last World Cup. He took an impressive 13 wickets in just 4 matches, a standout campaign that put him among the tournament's most effective pace bowlers. Renowned for his disciplined seam and clever changes of pace and calm execution under pressure, he's a true master of the game. I am deeply honored to welcome my coach Shadley Van Schalkwyk to the show.
Oh, Saki, thanks for having me. Appreciate the introduction. Probably one of the best introductions I've got.
Let's start with one of your long-standing nicknames. When did you first get the nickname Shadow?
So that happened I think I was under 14 cricket. We had a tour to a school called Affies. I went to Wyoming Boys, so we had an away tour. I think it was the first time I actually jumped on a flight, if I'm honest, to Affies in Johannesburg. It's a very good school. And one of our friends, Oscar, who is now coaching at Namibia, Oscar now is one of the high performance coaches there. He actually gave me the nickname, so probably because I, I'll definitely tell you at a later stage, but it's one of the nicknames that stuck, I think, forever. And it's something I've been called for, I think, over 20 years now.
Now let's talk about a little bit before that. When you were my age, 13, did you already know that cricket would be your life, or did you have something completely different in your mind?
No, I don't think so. I'll be honest. I used to swim quite a bit. I don't think I was great at swimming. I was okay. I broke a few school records and went to a few provincial trials or call it state trials. I just enjoyed sport in general. I loved cricket, I think, and I loved rugby. But I went through stages. I never thought of professional sport as a 13-year-old ever. It never crossed my mind. I was too busy wanting to play outside with my friends than worry about a sport, if I'm honest. Um, so I think it took me quite some time, about 5 years later, probably when I was 18. That's only when I started to consider, maybe when I was 17, to consider that cricket could be a future for me. But at 13, no, I was just too busy playing outside.
When you were playing outside, what's your single most favorite memory of playing sports in your childhood? Or is there like a memorable professional sports moment from that time that stuck with you?
Childhood. Wow, that's a good question, firstly. I think one of my favorite memories would be to just enjoying the way sport is without any professionalism attached to it. I think that's the most exciting part. There was never any pressures or outside pressures. It just was enjoy the sport, and having fun outside. I think as a professional sportsman, I was always watching Brian Laurie. He was my favorite cricketer. So I think that maybe led me to, or sort of helped me in my pathway to thinking of cricket later on. But I mean, I loved also the sport. I loved rugby. I loved cricket, hockey, swimming. So I did quite a bit of sports, and so I was lucky enough to be involved. But I think earliest memory is just enjoying playing sport outside with no pressure and a lot of laughter and a lot of fights with friends, I guess.
But you did have a top two later in your career between rugby and cricket, and I found out that you had a chance to go pro in rugby, and we are all so glad that you chose cricket, but that must have been a very difficult decision to make. How did you decide, and what made you choose?
It's a weird one. I think going pro in rugby, probably you never know what would happen. I don't think I might have gone. I just got invited to a Sharks academy, which at that time, or still probably now, I'm not too sure, was a really good academy, for rugby wise. And then I think cricket chose me, if I'm honest. I sort of deep down knew I want to be a professional sportsman. I think in rugby season, I loved rugby more than cricket, and I absolutely hated cricket. So in my mind, I'd be like, oh, I love rugby. I'm never going to play cricket again. So I'm not even going to start cricket next season. And then cricket season would come and I'd be like, oh, I don't even know why I play cricket. Like, I mean, I don't know why I play rugby. Rugby is the worst sport. Like, who wants to play rugby? And then I think it was in my under 19 year, I was lucky enough to make a provincial side. I've never made a side before that. I've never made a state team, a provincial side, a camp. I've been fortunate enough to go to trials at that stage, and try to make the side. I was never at that stage good enough to make it, or call it wasn't hungry enough to make it. I sort of had one good performance and I'd sit back and be like, oh cool, I've made it. And then whichever it was back then. But I think cricket chose me after my provincial weeks. I went to provincial week, um, played what they called it, the Coca-Cola Kamajola week, played a few games there. Managed to make the SA side, which was just the B team for SN19. Had an okay game, nothing amazing, but we used to play some games as a provincial side outside of that Coke week and did well in that. And made the SA under 19 side from that side, from that time in 2006. Wow, so a lifetime ago. But yeah, so, and that's when I guess cricket chose me, and it's sort of just been filtered into the right pathway since then.
And that kind of leads into my next question. I was going to ask, what was your experience like getting selected for the South Africa under 19 team? And what did it feel like to step onto the field for the first time representing your country?
Uh, can be honest, I was surprised. I always wanted to, I think when I was having a good season, like, oh, maybe I could make this on the 9 side. Never know. Um, I think I found out through, it might have been our parents that told me. I was playing outside or I was playing a game or cricket game, and the names of the SA under 19 side came up on TV, and my name was there. And I didn't know it. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it entailed. Um, but my name was there. So that was exciting. I think you always wanted to play with the best around the country. And at that stage, under 19, it was an honor, firstly. I mean, I was amongst some great players. I don't think I had the pressure as other players, to be honest, because I was never labeled to make South Africa under 19. I was never talked about like, oh, this could be the next player that plays for South Africa or makes the S under 19. I was never that feared cricketer, I guess, when I was younger. And so there was no pressure on me, so I could just go out and play, enjoy it. Nothing too serious. And with that, I was lucky enough just to take a lot of pressure off my shoulders without realizing it, and being able to make a ninth side in a, I think it was a 3 week tour. We played the British universities and the South African universities. At that time, it wasn't a World Cup year. I was 3 weeks old for the World Cup anyway, so I missed out on that later on. But I mean, it was an honor. It's always nice to represent a country at a younger stage of your life.
And now, like after that, a little while after that, you moved to America. And this is just a curious question. When you moved to the United States in 2021, did you come straight to Seattle or did you go somewhere else before coming here
I
eventually?
came straight to Seattle actually. It was a move that I was just too comfortable in South Africa. I've been playing for 12 years at that stage, professional cricket. Never, maybe a little bit longer, I think. So no, 12 years, just over 12 years I've been playing professional cricket. Before I moved, I was too comfortable. I think things were going too well for me in South Africa, if I can say that. I had a 2 year contract, got offered another 2 year contract, and I needed to get out of my comfort zone. So I called Nosh. I think a lot of people knows this, messaged him, and he sent me an email I could get in touch of. And I chatted to the then CEO, Mr. Ian Higgins, and he sort of got me over, put me in touch with Jagan and Salman, and came straight to Seattle. Fell in love with the place because it reminded me of Cape Town. A little bit colder than Cape Town, I guess. But there's hikes, there's outdoors, there's lakes, there's beaches, there's everything you want and to have an outdoors life because I like being outdoors. So that's how I ended up in Seattle, and I started my journey and I haven't left.
Well, moving across the world is really never easy. What was it like adapting to a completely new environment? But like you said, the weather was probably similar, but there's a lot of differences between Seattle and Cape Town.
There's a lot. So for myself and Anzal, which is my wife, and we literally moved with 2 suitcases. That's all we had. We had nothing else. Each of us had 2 suitcases, so call it 4 suitcases in total and nothing else. Not a house to live in, not a place to go to in USA, just trusting that our feet will fall somewhere. Um, and luckily it did. I think it's one of the more frightening moves you can make. I think once you commit to it and you could always go back, but deep down in my heart, I think I was never going to go back. So it is frightening, definitely frightening. I think the most frightening part is taking a leap of faith, and if you do make it, you do. If you don't, you could go back, but that would just mean for me that my contract would be null and void. I wouldn't have anything to go back into South Africa. Manzal had great work while she was there, so that would have helped amazingly. But for me, it would have been, I've risked it all. I can't let it go. I think that's the most frightening part, but that's also the most motivating part at the same time.
Looking back, what felt like a bigger hurdle? Adjusting to everyday life in America or finding your footing within the unique American cricket culture?
I think both ties hand in hand. I think also the American cricket culture, because it's one of those where my cricket culture and upbringing is completely different to how the diversity of cricket happens in USA. So just because I grown up in South Africa, I thought at that stage that the way I do cricket is the right way. And I got sometimes like, why don't you do it this way? Why aren't you running the extra 5 kilometers? Why aren't you doing the extra work? And that's how I got grown up and brought up playing my cricket. And then I wouldn't say necessarily clashing, but having conversations with people from all around the world about why they go about their cricket that way. What do they think? And having that conversation, I think that helped me. That was one of the best, I think, eye-opening experiences because I wasn't playing any franchise cricket back in South Africa with regards to going around the world. So I didn't get to rub shoulders with a lot of overseas pros. But opening my eyes to that, I think that's the biggest part from moving, the different cultures in the USA system and the unique life.
You mentioned you brought a lot of first class experience with you from South Africa, but probably not franchise cricket, but you had a lot of experience. How much of the training and technical, skill wise, transferred seamlessly over to the US version of cricket? Or how much did you have to reinvent or change?
I think you always have to reinvent as a cricketer. Firstly, I think if I was the same cricketer I was 2 years ago, I would have been a different cricketer. I would have been probably arguably out the system. I think you have to reinvent yourself with regards to keeping your basics, keeping the blueprint, because there's a certain way the game's played in certain formats, but also being able to adjust, adapt, and being able to go, okay, this isn't the right way. All of a sudden, you have to strike rate at 150 where before it was 120. So adapting to that, I think that's the some of it, I guess. And then I think coming back to reinventing myself. There's a certain way you have to play. Um, you have to do that, but understand the basics of the game, which was my strength. I think with the work ethic that gets instilled in you in South Africa, it's you have to be fit. I think in my franchise, I had to run on the yo-yo test, which is a little bit outdated now. I had to run a 19.3 just to get selected for my franchise side. And if I didn't, it was all individual. Everyone had different scores. But if I didn't run a 19.3, I wouldn't be allowed to get selected for my franchise. If I wasn't fit enough or strong enough, the simple thing was it's in your contract. You can have a contract torn up. And that's the bottom line. It never happened to anyone, not that I know of at least. So that high standard helped me adjust, but at the same time, there wasn't the facilities to do that when I got to USA. So there wasn't all of a sudden a gym time where I could go 2 to 9 or a training facility where I could just go out and practice my skills. All of that wasn't in place. So I had to find ways and rely on my experience and trusting my 3 week leading up to the competition to be able to be in a good mental space to know that I can perform. And that's what I had to do. So learn to trust myself a lot more and also try train with not having everything at your disposal.
And you were very successful when you came here, though, but because by your second year on the national team, you were in a spot to go to the World Cup. Take us back to that moment. Did you feel different from how you felt when you got into the U19 South Africa squad, or was it very similar when you found out you'd be representing the USA on a world stage?
I think it's a different feeling. I think if you compare the ages, similar, I guess. I just don't think I was the under 19 year. I was fortunate enough to get selected in the 2024 World Cup and it sort of hit home because I think I've shown a few of the guys, the older kids that I coach, my goals page, what I set out for USA. And that was when I moved here. I think it was 2020 or 2021 during COVID. And I had the goals. And on top of that list is to make the World Cup squad. So I was always pushing for it. I think I worked hard enough to earn a spot there. I had a good national week. I battled well. bowled well, so I enjoyed that part of it. But I knew I always had a goal in mind, and I was fortunate enough to achieve that goal. So when I got the email that I would be selected for the World Cup squad and the Bangladesh series, I was ecstatic, firstly, but it's sort of like, okay, the hard work starts now. You've achieved a goal by firstly being selected to a team, and that's the start of it. But now because I want to say earned the goal because I felt I worked hard enough. Because you earned the goal, you need to work a little bit harder so you can keep your spot in the team first and also perform well enough to help the team win.
In the 2024, after the 2024 World Cup, what did you feel that you specifically needed to improve on and that you transferred over to a very successful 2026 World Cup?
I think every facet of my game. I think I trusted my skill enough to get away with certain things. I think I wouldn't say I got lazy in my homework, but I paid more attention to the homework with regards to video analysis, thinking about the game, planning for every situation, everything I'd want to do according to my plan. I think we had a great video analyst, Sampath, who gave me all the data. And I think I've said this before where a lot of times you watch videos where the bowler bowls 95 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour, and you get the guy caught behind. And I sit in the meeting, I'm like, but I don't bowl 95. Like in my heart I do, but I know I don't. And I sat down with our analyst Sampath and I said, Sampath, look, I cannot bowl 95 an hour, miles an hour. My heart's there. I want to, I can't, but show me all the bowlers that bowls between 75 and 83 or 84, or 85 if I'm lucky, and show me how the batters get dismissed, where the dot balls are, and every situation with regards to what field I should sit in the power play, out the power play, at the death overs. So I studied that regard and learned more about my game and had to become more of a thinking cricketer. Not that I wasn't, I always thought, but I also learned to trust my process and not worry about the outcome of what's going to happen, because sometimes you bowl the best ball of your life and you unfortunately get it for six. That's just part of the game. But I think I became more attentive. I understood now, because once playing at a bigger international level, the game's played at a million times more intensity than any series or bilateral series that I've ever played, or any franchise cricket. So World Cup cricket was a different beast. So coming back from the first World Cup, I knew I had to upskill. I knew I had to do a lot more homework. I knew I had to be fit. I knew I had to be able to land the Yorker when I want to land the Yorker. I knew I had to be a step ahead of every fast Shadley cricketer that there was, if I can say that. So I needed to think more, be more agile, be able to move more, be able to understand the game more, be able to read the game laterally and not get tunnel vision during the game. And understanding that it's only a few seconds of concentration that you have to put in. And also switching off was very important for me during the game.
And during this tournament, it completely showed with the commentators couldn't stop talking about your slower ball bouncer. It claimed some massive wickets on both the Pakistan and Indian team against their top tier lineups. While your skill is undeniable, how much of the specific pitch conditions helped with that delivery into such a lethal weapon?
I think if you if you ask any USA cricketer, regardless of the wickets we play on, it's probably the flattest wickets, arguably as flattest that we play on in USA. We get some tough conditions to play in USA. Also in associate cricket, the conditions aren't the greatest. So when we play in conditions that are off, or if we had to play that in any other day, we're smiling as USA cricketer because it's completely flat. But at the same time, we knew that the full member nations didn't play on a touch slower deck. For example, the India game, the wicket was a little bit slower. So my whole plan before the World Cup game against India was my slow balls, my cutters weren't working, but the knuckle ball was coming out very well, and batters were struggling with that. So I wasn't planning on bowling a cutter at all, until Soro bowled the first over and then Ali bowled the second one. And they sent the message like, look, it's a lot slower than what we thought. It's not what we practice on. So this could be an advantage to us. And with that information, my game plan changed completely. I was able to adapt and change my game plan in the game and go, okay, I'm going to bowl my cutters. I'm going to trust my first plan I had, not the plan B. So I was able to pivot from plan A to plan B quite nicely because I prepared well. but I think it did help with regards to that. And I think if we think back, we're probably a little bit upset with ourselves because we didn't get the result we wanted, but we did show a good case for USA.
I mean, it shows because you took a massive amount of wickets in just 4 matches, and your economy was just under six, which was crazy in a era dominated by power hitting and teams regularly pushing for 250 runs plus in a T20 match. So that clearly helped a lot. Now let's move on to your coaching thing. You always say to trust the process, and I know that deeply is personal to you. How did you apply this to your own career?
I was, it's weird too. It's a good question. It's a difficult one to answer because in saying this, trusting the process, you having faith that something might happen at the end of the line, and sometimes it just doesn't seem like it's happening. It just doesn't seem like it's going to come. You don't get the wickets you want, you don't get the scores you want, you don't tick the right boxes, but you just keep trusting, and you end up sitting here and you're like, but why am I doing this? Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm trusting this so much. Like, surely I have to be rewarded somewhere down the line. And I had mentors in cricket. I had coaches in cricket that says you'll be rewarded somewhere down the line. It might be a year from now. It might be 2 weeks from now. It might be 5 years from now, but the game will reward you. Just trust what you're doing, work hard, keep your head down, stay in your lane. I had people sort of telling me the things I tell the kids that I coach now, or the athletes that I coach now. I tell them the same thing. And the nice thing about that as a coach is that I can say I'm testament to one of those. Like it worked for me at 37 years old. No one expected me to firstly play the World Cup, make the World Cup squad, whatever it was. But at 37 years old, I trusted the process enough to know the game will reward you in the end. And it's something I try to teach, which I call my athletes, not just kids and cricketers, because they need to be athletes to play cricket. So it's something I will try and instill in people because you have to do it. It's just how cricket works.
Lots of people look up to you now. Who was that person for you when you were starting out?
I think if I'm honest, besides the international sportsmen, I'd say it's both my parents. My dad obviously is one big one because when we grew up, he could never have the opportunities that we did, because of the apartheid system. So he wasn't allowed to play, during that time on any, call it like it was back then, on a white cricket team or a white person's field, or that just was the harsh reality of what he tried to. He played South African rugby, for we call it the colours, South African colours. So he played for European South Africa in that department, was never allowed to play anywhere else. So I think that was one of the things that subconsciously stuck with me. My dad wasn't allowed to do it. So that's the young hero. I think my mom, the way she supported me also. She sent me a message every single day, just encouraged me to be who I want to be, but also like, you got this. Keep going. Bad game, don't worry. Put your head down. You got it. So I think those are the two first heroes that I would say. But then, like if you think of sports wise, I'd say it's changed every now and then. But my first one was Brian Lara.
Hmm. Did he inspire your batting in any way?
He
Did
did. He did. I think he inspired it because I call him the overseas pro of West Indies at the time. If you got runs, West Indies win. If you didn't get runs, they might have lost. If there was 500 to score and Brian Lara walked in, I think the whole world went, okay, they could actually win this just because he walked in. So I think that that sort of persona and personal with regards to Lara was someone that like, oh, just think that way. If you can look at a cricketer that way and you can try be that cricketer, then the game's never over till the last ball.
you played cricket at a lot of different stages in your life? Did you enjoy cricket more when you were younger or more now?
More now. More now. I think younger, I put a little bit too much pressure on myself. I'll be honest. I think once you get to an age, or what happened for me, I had my daughter Ziara. Well, not me, but my wife. We have got a little daughter. Um, and the first time I looked into her eyes, like cricket just honestly fell to second tier. There's more to life than cricket itself. It's a difficult feeling to explain because cricket was what 18, 17 years of my life, and still is a massive part of my life. But it just you start enjoying it more. I've always loved my cricket. I think my biggest lesson I learned was when I think I was 21. I lost my first contract and I didn't know where I was going from there. So I always loved the game. I love playing it, but I still put sometimes a little bit of pressure on myself. We're now at an older stage. Like right now, it's like I just enjoy it. Whatever challenge comes, I'm up for it. Like let's go. It's me and you. Whoever comes out on top comes out on top. I will say my words on the field like, against you. I will make everything as uncomfortable as can for you. And at the end of the day, I'll shake your hand and we'll sit and we'll chat nicely. That's what I believe in my cricket, but I think I enjoy it now probably more.
And this is just a fun question about your coaching in MLC. Do you think coaching kids is harder than bowling to international batters?
Yes, 100%. 100%. I think it's, and it's a weird one. It's a funny one, yes, but it's also the kids at MLC, a Seattle. They don't understand failure yet. So in South Africa, grew up playing a lot of sports. You failed in a lot of things. We've probably got some of the most intelligent, in my view, having coached all over the world, but the most intelligent kids that I've ever come across. So they don't understand failure. So trying to let them understand like you're going to fail. If you're lucky, you're going to succeed 1/3 of the game. That's if you're lucky. And if you're not, you're probably going to succeed 1/7 of a game of the games that you play for the rest of your life. And if that's the case, you've actually had a successful cricketing journey. So is coaching tougher than bowling the international matter? I think so, yes. Definitely.
And this is a little bit more of a serious question. Has coaching made you a better player yourself?
100%. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I wish I probably coached a little bit earlier. I think a few technical things with regards to when I coach, I never thought of when I was playing. And all of a sudden, when I'm coaching, I'm like, I just could have done that. Like, why didn't I just do that? And I'm able to fix a technical flaw within myself and understand the more of the mental side, because I studied a little bit of the mental side of psychology and stuff like that. So I understand it a little bit more when I'm saying this, the message or giving the message across. And then I go, oh, I could just do that for myself. And that's what makes you a better player. The small little things that you miss out as a player, you end up finding out as a coach and then applying it again to your own game.
And now it's time to play a very fun game called Winner Stays On. I'll give you two pacers and you tell me which one do you believe is better. Should we begin?
Okay, go for it.
Okay, we'll start with the Mitchells. Mitchell Johnson or Mitchell Stark?
Oh, Mitchell Johnson.
Mitchell Johnson or Mohammed Shami?
Mitchell Johnson.
Mitchell Johnson or Jasprit Bumrah?
Oh, Jasprit Bumrah.
Jasprit Bumrah or Brett Lee?
Brett Lee.
Brett Lee or Dale Steyn?
Dale Steyn.
Dale Steyn or Shoaib Akhtar?
Dale Steyn.
Dale Steyn or Curtly Ambrose?
Dale Steyn.
Dale Steyn or Stuart Broad?
Dale Steyn.
And finally, Dale Steyn or Shane Bond?
Dale Steyn. Will always be Dale Steyn. He's the best. He's the best that I've ever seen.
Dale Steyn is officially the winner of this edition of Winner Stays On. Coach, thank you so much for taking your time to be on my podcast. As always, it's really fun talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Saki, have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much.